Hi guys, it's Anissa. Welcome back to my channel. Some will say I went a little overboard. I'm not saying you're wrong. Today, we're going to be doing another haul. It's been a while. Majority of this is gonna be Sephora, but I did go to Morphe and I picked up a couple things. So we're gonna do this last because Sephora is the star of the show today. I don't know what's been going on. I don't know what's in the air, but literally every high-end makeup brand came out with a new concealer, a new foundation, and y'all know that's my weak spot. If you are interested to see what is new in the makeup world, then make sure to keep on watching. But before we go any further, please make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe. I post on this channel once a week. That's the goal, so you never miss me for too long. Let's just go ahead and get into it. I'm going to go ahead and mention the products in the order that I would do my makeup in. One skincare product. Skincare is really an area that I do not switch things up a whole lot. And I do that very intentionally because once I find something in a regimen that works for my skin, I do not switch it up. The only time I will try something different is if I see something that intrigues me, and I do not immediately start using that product. I will finish whatever I'm using. That way I'm only changing one thing at a time. If my skin breaks out, if I'm having an allergic reaction, I know exactly what product caused that issue. Glow Recipe kind of scarred me. I used the watermelon mask and it just made my skin rage. Glow Recipe Guava Vitamin C Dark Spot Serum, and this claims to brighten and even skin. I like to use my serum as kind of like my supplement for my skin. I don't do any acids. I don't do any of that stuff. Skin cycling, I'm just not super familiar with it. I'm not comfortable enough with it. I wanted to go ahead and try it out. And it does say that you're only supposed to start using it 3 to 4 times a week, gradually increase the usage of it. That way your skin can kind of get used to it. I did go ahead and pick up 2 new lip masks. What I'll do is I will lather a whole bunch of lip mask onto my lips while I'm doing my eyes, while I'm doing my complexion, and then I will do my lips last. Nothing to me works better than a lip mask because they're just so conditioning. I've really been straying away from lip balms. There's one, the Glossier Mint Balm.com is probably the only lip balm that I'm really still using religiously, but that's because it's super thick and very hydrating. I've almost found that my lips get used to lip balms and then I have to apply them more and more. It's like Dasani water. It has salt in it, so the more you drink, it's making you actually more thirsty because it has salt in it. I don't think that this is new, but I've never seen it. I find that I kind of overlook a lot of NARS products because all of the packaging looks exactly the same. NARS Orgasm Lip Mask. I have not tried any lip products from NARS. Love their complexion. I will say I do think the Radiant Creamy Concealer, very overrated. But other than that, they freaking go to town when it comes to complexion. I have not ever had better lip liner and lipstick application than I do now because I feel like my lips just feel better and I feel like they're almost being taken care of better. PATICK Ta Softening Lip Mask, and this is what the product looks like. You have that, you know, PATICK Ta, well known for that mirrored pretty pink packaging, and it comes in a square component. If you've ever smelled PATICK Ta makeup, it has a very light fragrance to it. That's what this smells like. Next, I do have one brow product from PATICK Ta, Major Brow Defining Pencil, and I have this in the color Soft Black. They actually had a lot of colors to choose from. Usually, I like to do black, brown. I really try to stay away from black, but I thought that this color would be perfect for my brows. Oh my gosh, it's like super buttery. I want to show you guys this shape. It's very thin and it has like a rectangular shape. It's not like your usual circular brow pencil. It's actually wider and longer, which is what I love because I outline my brows with a brow pencil. After eyes, I go ahead and start with my complexion, and I do have 2 new primers. I love how these kind of like smaller brands in Sephora are having a really huge come up, specifically LYS. Let's just note the packaging first. Look at this. It's like a triangular pyramid type. LYS Beauty Secure Skin Gripping Primer Serum, and this actually has 5% niacinamide and AHA in it. So this claims to help with pores and shine control, and it is a super watery gel type of texture. You guys aren't going to be able to tell through the packaging. I love anything that is going to give my makeup something to stick onto, something to grip onto. So I'm interested because usually I've never found anything that is non-silicone based that can really fill in my pores. I didn't buy this. I got this as like a little mini Sephora Smooth and Blur Primer, and this is supposed to diffuse the look of imperfections, and it has ginkgo extract and stabilized vitamin E. I'm wondering if this is silicone based or not. Silicone based primer, but that actually feels really, really smooth. After primer is foundation, and all 4 of these are brand spanking new. I'm gonna go ahead and start with this brand first because I've never heard anybody talk about it. Fashion Fair SKINFLEX Stick Foundation in the color Brown Sugar Babe. I think I actually did a pretty good job at matching myself. That feels really buttery and smooth. I'm always really, really picky when it comes to stick foundations because I want something that is going to blend out super, super easily. I don't want it to be cakey. I found that stick foundations can actually feel cakier than liquids just because they are formulated differently. It's a more solid formula. When people in Sephora ask me if I need a color match, I usually always say no, because every time that I have had somebody color match me, it is horrendous. I get home and it looks completely different, but I took a leap of faith and I'm hoping that this goes well because I did have somebody shade match me for this. Sephora Best Skin Ever Foundation. It claims to have a natural finish and it has long wear, medium to buildable coverage, which for foundations, I really prefer medium and up. Rarely do I ever use light coverage foundation. And I did also get the concealer, which I'll show you guys in a second. And I have the shade 44Y. I know I've shared my opinions specifically when it comes to all these celebrities that are starting to dabble in makeup, but I honestly feel like my opinion has somewhat changed only because majority of the celebrity brands that I have tried are actually really good. I still think it's a money grab for some people, but when I found out that Lady Gaga was coming out with makeup, I was like, okay, I gotta try it. Specifically this foundation. The shade range for this is very, very interesting. I had a very hard time finding something that I thought I could make work. Usually I prefer when shades go light to deep, and this had a lot of hops and skips. I will say there's a lot of different undertones, but I could not find anything for me, which I believe I'm more like neutral yellowy toned. Haus Labs TRICLONE Skin Tech Foundation, and I have this in the color 470 medium deep cool. Look at how thick that glass is around the product. And I have kind of really started to love natural dewy foundations. I just love the way that they look on the skin when they apply. This claims to be weightless, and it claims to have 20 plus skincare ingredients in it. Mentioned in my last video very briefly, but I will be doing a full face using influencer / celebrity makeup because some of my favorite products are from celebrity owned, influencer owned brands. They know what the people want and they deliver sometimes. Another Patrick Ta product. Guys, I'm obsessed with his packaging. Patrick Ta for Face Cream Foundation and Finishing Powder Duo color Tan 3. What's so interesting to me is that you see the foundation shade and then look at how much lighter the powder is. There has to be a reason as to why he did it that way. I found the same with Makeup by Mario, his eye primers. He has creams and then his powder's lighter. I absolutely adore the fact that Patrick Ta implements these separators from the cream to powder. That way your product doesn't get all nasty and mixed and you have a gorgeous mirror. Next is concealer. Too Faced Born This Way Thorough Light Illuminating Smoothing Concealer. I went ahead and picked up the shade Caramel Drizzle. It claims to be waterproof, non-creasing, and moisturizing. I absolutely love the original Too Faced Born This Way concealer. The energy of that concealer is just unmatched. I love how silky it is. I really feel like that one is pretty natural as well. This one is claiming to be illuminating, so maybe it's a little bit more dewy than that one, but I do know that the main difference between the two is that this one's supposed to have less coverage. With concealers, I'll do anything medium to full. I like the higher side of coverage, but I can work with medium coverage. What I'll do is I take a concealer that's like pretty much my shade, what I would use to correct spots and stuff. I put that underneath my eyes first, and then on the very, very inside of my eyes, I just put a little dot of a much lighter concealer, and I have been loving to use that technique lately. It gives me a brightening effect that is just like no other. I cannot achieve it with just using one concealer. I already mentioned this. This is the Sephora Best Skin Ever Concealer. This claims to be full coverage. The guy did tell me, I asked him if the shades and the concealer matched the shades in the foundation. I have found, even though some brands name the foundations and concealers to correlate, the colors are not the same. He matched me and he was right, it's the same. So I actually love Sephora's, I don't know the exact name of it, but I know it's something along the lines of gel concealer. I love that concealer formula. Charlotte Tilbury Beautiful Skin Radiant Concealer, and I have this in the color 15 Deep. I actually just tried a concealer from Charlotte Tilbury. It had like the Maybelline eraser type of doe on top of it. It's so messy. I love the formula of it. The lid is not big enough for the product. All the product slides in and out the top. It's a mess. Before I open this, I want you to take a look at the color. Look at the color on the package. Very deceiving. Milk Makeup Future Fluid All Cover Cream Concealer, color 24N. Those are not the same. Oh, is this gonna be too dark? I think it's gonna be a hair too dark. I'll just have to mix a little bit of white into this. That's why I love those LA Girl foundation adjusters for powders, because setting is necessary in my life. I'm just gonna mention this one briefly. Any size of the Laura Mercier translucent powder. There's an eyeshadow stick in here. It's kind of cute. I have this powder in every single color. I say that like there's like 20 colors. There's only 3, but I love this powder. I have heard such good things about this blotting powder, and I actually really don't use blotting powders all that often. The only time I ever bother to touch my makeup up, taking pictures, or I'm out and I'm somewhere important. Like, I'm not gonna touch my makeup if all I did that day was go to school and go to the grocery store. I just let my makeup kind of do its thing. I kind of actually have found that sometimes my makeup looks better once my oils have kind of worked with my makeup, because it just looks a little bit more skin-like. Blotting powders I like because I don't necessarily need extra coverage. I just need to be mattified. Fenty Beauty Invisimatte Instant Setting and Blotting Powder. Some setting powders do not work as blotting powders. They add a little bit more coverage, and sometimes you don't need a little bit more coverage. So when you're already at full coverage and you've added more coverage, how many times did it just say coverage? It looks cakey. This is the brand that I mentioned earlier that I had never seen. Fashion Fair Set It Loose Powder, and I got the color It's Nuts Translucent. This is unique. I've never kind of seen that. You see how it's like slanted? Haus Labs Bio Blurring Loose Setting Powder, and I got the color Golden. I do have one lip product. I am very, very picky when it comes to lip liners. I want something creamy. I want something buttery. I prefer a roll up. I have tried this formula before, just a different color. Rare Beauty Kind Words Matte Lip Liner, and I have this in the color Strong. This is just a beautiful chocolate color. Look at that. I love this formula, but the original color I tried was a little bit lighter than what I wanted, and at the Sephora that I bought the first one from, it was smaller. And just like, I mean, drugstore makeup and Ulta, if they're smaller, they usually don't carry the whole range of whatever. So they didn't have this color in the first Sephora. So when I went to Chicago and we were in the big Sephora, I was like, yes, these are my tones right here. These chocolate browns. I love putting like a dark chocolate brown on my outside and then putting a pink in the middle, and it gives the most beautiful ombre effect. I'm gonna go ahead and go into the Morphe part. Pretty much all I got from Morphe was some brushes and R.E.M. Beauty. They came out with a vegan line of brushes, and they are packaged like this versus their regular brushes are packaged this way. Top 3 brush brands have to be Real Techniques, e.l.f., Morphe, BH Cosmetics, which I thought that BH Cosmetics was going out of business. They actually just got bought by somebody else, so all is well. I bought 2 of these brushes right here. A lot of my eye brushes I keep multiples of. Morphe M506 brushes when I want to concentrate color into my crease more. I actually probably have more eye brushes than anything, but it's because I have a lot of multiples, because I can't use a lighter color on this brush now because I've already put a darker color onto it. So especially when I use them multiple days in a row. Another reason I have a lot of eye brushes is because, especially with my concealer, when I go to clean up my brows, after I've used a brush so many times, the cream gets like caked up in them and I can't use it anymore till I wash it. So I actually already have this brush, so I just bought another one, M32, and it's just like a flat top brush. I love using this to carve out my brows. These are numbered differently. Instead of being on the end like they usually are, they're up top right there. V102 Dense Edged Foundation Brush. So it kind of has like a peak at the top, and it's a little bit wider. I thought that this would be good for either foundation or contour because it does have that peak, so that would fit into the cheekbone really nicely. Morphe V11, this is the full bodied highlighter brush. I always use 2 brushes when I do my highlight. I use like a small one like this to concentrate the product, and then I'll use one like this to blend it out and make it, you know, not so harsh. So I feel like this brush is a combination of these two. So maybe I'll be more efficient. I think I might have found a dupe for this KVD brush. I love this brush and I don't know the name of it because I got this gold packaging as a 10-year anniversary set. It was super cheap. It's like a smaller version of that foundation brush I just showed you. This is the M105 dense edged concealer brush. Show you guys the side of it. You see what I mean, how it tapers. I've only tried one thing from, is it REM or R.E.M? Ariana Grande's brand. I've tried the liquid eyeshadow and I loved it as an eyeshadow base. So I went ahead and got another color of that REM Beauty Midnight Shadow Liquid Eyeshadow in the color Sep. I loved this formula. It was so pigmented and I just thought that it gave me a beautiful, beautiful base. I'm gonna mention these two primers together and I wanna mention this one first because I've actually never tried anything like it. REM Beauty Full Night Sleep Cooling Blurring Under Eye Balm. I actually put a little bit of this on my hand and when I tell you this felt so amazing, so cooling, but it is silicone based. So I'm excited to see how this works with concealer. Honestly, when I use this, I'll probably use a concealer that I've already used before. That way I can, like, you know, give it a fair chance. I usually don't actually put a whole lot of primer underneath my eyes, only because I really don't put like foundation underneath my eyes. But now that I'm thinking about it, I should put primer underneath my eyes. I always use like eye gel or something. I'm wondering how something silicone based is gonna work. REM Beauty Lunar Magic Blurring Balm. This also is silicone based. I prefer silicone based primers for smoothing and blurring because I have huge pores. I haven't found anything else that can really smooth over my pores and give me smooth makeup application. The reason that I wanted to buy this as well in conjunction with the eye primer is to see if there really was a difference or if it was just the same product put in two different packages. Mascara is one thing I really do not spend a lot of money on because I think that the drugstore has so many options that are actually better than most high-end products, but I'm really big on a wand. Okay, so if the wand looks appealing, I'll try it. REM Beauty mascara, and this is in the color Midnight Black. Look at this packaging. Like, it's very geometric, fun. I use mascara on my bottom lashes, so I thought that this wand would be really good for those purposes because the spikes aren't super huge. So I'm hoping that these really just help grasp onto the lashes. If you put a chocolate brown lip liner in front of me, I'm gonna buy it. REM Beauty At the Borderline Lip Pencil. I have the color Reverb. That's that swatch right there. Lastly, I'm opening this and it has a little cute spatula. REM Beauty Sweetener Concealer. And it has this little spatula. They also had 60 shades. Talk about inclusivity. And I must say, I felt like it went pretty light and I feel like it went pretty dark and it was pretty even all the way throughout. I got the color Tan 4G. I like to use pot concealers to carve out my brows, so I do prefer something that has high coverage for that reason, and this does claim to have medium to full coverage. All right guys, that is it for today's video. Let me know down in the comments what you are the most excited to see in action. If there's anything that I talked about that's on your wish list, if there's something that I didn't talk about that's on your wish list, let me know, because if you guys saw the wish list in my phone, you'd be like, why? Thank you guys so much, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.